Welcome to Impact News for your weekly news edition. I am Carol Angela Davis. Folks, I want to ask you this question. This is very simple. Everybody has probably asked the same question. Why was Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis allowed to weigh in on the AP African American History course? Okay, why did the College Board allow that to happen? All right, apparently, while the College Board was developing its first advanced placement course on African American studies, the group was in repeated contact with the administration of Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, and every time that man opens his mouth, it's something against African Americans, people of color, LGBT. Why would you let somebody who's so obviously insecure, so obviously afraid of these groups, why would you let that person weigh in on their history? So that tells you all you need to know about the College Board. Let's just start there. The College Board is starting to look very, very ignorant, okay? All right now. As a result of those consultations with DeSantis, who I call the new George Wallace, the College Board removed or significantly reduced the presence of such concepts as intersectionality. That's right, folks. Also, mass incarceration. How can you talk about Black history and not talk about mass incarceration, which locked up every Black male they didn't kill? Okay, stop it. Also, reparations. Oh, that's not in there, okay? Also, the Black Lives Matter movement. That's modern history. They don't even want that. It's pathetic. So the course appears to have lost a lot of its educational value. I don't know, it's really pathetic, but we all know that the College Board has long been accused of producing exams that seem to favor white and affluent students. That was the criticism of the College Board when I was in high school and college, okay? Nothing's changed. One professor said this of the new AP African American History course, with key concepts and thinkers removed, sidelined. All right, the new curriculum lacks the intellectual heft, all right now, and moral urgency, okay, that students of Florida and students everywhere need and deserve. College Board, I don't see you watering down any other courses, but you watered ours down. So that tells us that you either don't have the backbone to stand up to someone who is clearly is insecure and has deep problems with African Americans. You can't stand up to him. So we need to go through a lot of those courses and find out what else did you take out. I'm Carol Angela Davis. Well, thank you for staying with me for Impact News, bringing you the news from all around the neighborhood and, of course, all around the world, starting in the Mississippi. It's a mess down there, folks. Okay, only in Mississippi, white representatives in Mississippi are creating a white-appointed court system. You heard me correctly. A white-appointed court system for the blackest city in America. That would be the capital city of Jackson, Mississippi, which is 80% Black and home to a bigger percentage of Black residents than any other city in America, people. That's right, folks, okay? Any other major American city. Folks, it is a separate court system. Can you say apartheid? It is a separate court system and an expanded police force. That's what we need, more police, okay, within the city of Jackson, created by a white supermajority of the Mississippi House. Yes, you heard me correctly, folks. It's House Bill 1020, and folks, if it becomes law, it will be appointed completely by white state officials. That means that the now judges and prosecutors that are elected, folks, they won't be elected, they will be appointed. That's right. Okay, Mississippi's legislature is thoroughly and completely controlled by white Republicans. Over the last 30 years, they have redrawn districts to ensure that they can pass any bill without a single Democratic vote. And folks, every legislative Republican is white and most Democrats are Black. And this is Mississippi. So if you want to know, I wonder if there's anything nefarious. Absolutely, it's nefarious. It is apartheid and it must be stopped. All right, but let me say this. Not everybody in America, fortunately, is that petty. As red states target Black history lessons, you should know that blue states are stepping up, folks. Blue states are mandating classes in African American, Latino, and Puerto Rican studies. Folks, since 2019, Connecticut, Delaware, Maine, and Rhode Island, all of them have passed laws requiring instruction in Black history. They're not scared like Ron DeSantis. He's so scared of Black people. It's hilarious. Connecticut's law, it says African American, Puerto Rican, and Latino studies must be included in the social studies component of all public school curriculums. All right, Delaware mandates that school districts offer instruction on Black history. Maine says that African American studies and the history of genocide must be included in state testing standards. And Rhode Island orders schools to include a unit of African American history and heritage. Okay, we got some broad thinkers, and then we got those narrow, petty people like those in Mississippi and Florida that frankly need to be stopped. I'm sorry, vote them out. Then, a 9-year-old this is what they're scared of. A 9-year-old African-American boy from Pennsylvania has finished high school with a 4.0 GPA. Yes, people, his name is David Belogan. Yes, he's from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. What a cutie. He's now looking to enroll in college, yes, and he wants to become an astrophysicist and study black holes and supernovas. Knock yourself out, dude. Okay, David is currently considering the University of Pennsylvania, Princeton, and Harvard University. Let me just say this. All I can tell you is the University of Pennsylvania produced Donald Trump and Harvard produced Ron DeSantis. Now, I don't know if they're teaching ethics, but before I sent my kids there, I would think about whether or not they're teaching things like ethics, a love of country, and fairness, because something is wrong up in some of those schools. Okay, let's move on to Clarice Phelps, folks. She is the first black woman to help discover an element on the periodic table. Ron, knock yourself out. Phelps says she was inspired by astronaut Mae Jemison, and she says she faced bias at almost every step in her journey, but she refused to let other people's assumptions limit what she might achieve. She got a bachelor's degree in chemistry from Tennessee State. She later enlisted in the U.S. Navy's Nuclear Power School, where she studied radiochemistry. That's the study of radioactive substances. And then she got with her team, they created Element 117, which was officially named Tennessee, TS, because the foundational work of Clarice's team was done in Tennessee. It is the second heaviest known element on Earth. Go do it. All right, now let's move on to the environment, folks. To say the Colorado River is in crisis is a major understatement. Yes, yes. All right. The Colorado River Basin is an essential source of supplies for Southern California. In fact, Lakes Meade and Powell, they are now so low, folks, that they are unlikely to refill in our lifetimes. All of us, okay, even the young ones, okay? All right, unlikely to refill in our lifetimes. Lake Meade is on the Arizona-Nevada border. It's held back by the Hoover Dam. In 2000, it was nearly full, but of course, due to the mega drought over the last 23 years, yes, Lake Meade is about 70% empty, okay? Lake Powell has declined to just 23% of full capacity. It is approaching the point where Glen Canyon Dam will no longer be able to generate power, and this winter's above average snowpack that you're probably saying, whoo, that was good. Well, guess what? It happened in the Rocky Mountains, and it didn't even make a dent in what is needed. The Colorado River supplies water to 7 states, to tribal nations, and to Mexico. Huge problem, folks. All right, let's move on. Now, unfortunately, now we in the U.S. have to think about climate migration within our own country. You heard me correctly. Where will you go? As people flee climate change on the coast, there is one Midwest city trying to become a safe haven. That is Duluth, Minnesota. Some climate experts say the Midwest, in particular the Great Lakes region and the American Rust Belt, are places to think about moving to. In particular, Duluth, Minnesota, because it sits at the western point of Lake Superior. Lake Superior is among the largest freshwater lakes in the world, containing about 10% of the world's accessible fresh water. That's right, folks. Duluth has available and affordable housing, with the average home costing about $200,000. Now, the city was built for 130,000 people, but currently only 80,000 people live there, so there is room to grow. Duluth has abundant public parks, healthcare facilities, and water infrastructure that could support a growing population. And the county Duluth sits in, St. Louis County, is reliably blue in a blue-leaning state that happens to have the nation's highest voter turnout rate. You better start thinking about it if you live on the coast. All right, let's go to Indonesia, where they are sick and tired of becoming climate refugees on their own land. So 4 Indonesians are suing Swiss cement giant Holcim over the climate change on Peri Island, which is 25 miles north of Jakarta. The island is only 4.9 feet 4.9 feet above sea level, and it's on the front lines of the world's climate crisis. Extreme flooding is killing off the trees, driving away the tourists. Chaotic water has devastated fishing hauls, and rising sea levels are submerging the island's 1,500 residents, okay? The Swiss company Holcim, well, for it is the world's largest manufacturer of building materials, so we're going to pay attention to this Wall Street. Now, you should also know that since 1990, the U.S. has inflicted more than $1.9 trillion in damages to other, mostly poor countries as a result of its greenhouse gas emissions, and that's through heat waves, crop failures, and other consequences. Not good. U.S., rein it in, okay? Let's move on. 6 religious leaders are fighting to expand abortion access. They filed an abortion-related lawsuit arguing their religious freedoms are being violated, and they want to see, this is in Missouri, they want to see Missouri's abortion ban overturned. Now, these religious leaders are part of a movement of faith leaders that are fighting for abortion access and trying to change a narrative that they say erases the range of viewpoints on abortion within faith communities and the history of religious activism to expand abortion access. All right now. Then let's look at the diaspora, and beginning with the Caribbean, we go to St. Lucia, where St. Lucia's immigrant investor program is now drawing in wealthy Chinese. That's right, folks. These Chinese citizens are investing in St. Lucia in exchange for second citizenship, which they can do for as little as $100,000 U.S. Chinese investors are rattled by China's very uncertain economy, and St. Lucia is one of the strongest and fastest growing economies in the Caribbean. Meanwhile, they'll take a look at Guyana, which is attracting Canadian companies. Guyana is experiencing rapid economic growth, due in part to a booming oil and gas sector. So we don't know how long that's going to last. Canada's High Commissioner of Guyana says, although the oil and gas sector does play a major role in the transformation, the government's agenda of developing other sectors, such as health, education, mining, agriculture, and agricultural technology, also renewable energy, green technology, and infrastructure are also areas that Canadian companies are looking to capitalize on there in Guyana. And then heading quickly to Africa, Botswana could sever ties with South African diamond giant De Beers. Finally, okay, that is unless talks to renegotiate a sales agreement prove favorable to, drumroll please, Botswana. There's a change. All right, Africa's largest diamond producer is Botswana, in case you didn't know that. Now, the current agreement, it expires in June 30th of this year, all right? Right now, mining company De Beers, get this, they get 75% of the rough diamonds produced, while Botswana gets 25%, and that sounds really pathetic, but guess what, folks? All right, that's an increase from 2011 when De Beers got 90%. And Botswana got 10%. That was right around the time probably that movie came out. That name escapes me, but you know the one I'm talking about, where they showed exactly what was going on over there. The president says, quote, this is the president of Botswana, if we don't reach a win-win situation, each side will have to pack up and go home, unquote. Yes, ma'am. Okay, those are your stories. Stay with me. I'll be back with Ask Dr. K, the financial news. Of course, I'll have the Slay Word, the international report, and missing. Stay with me. Carol Angela Davis with your Slay Word of the Week. Folks, and the word this week is embog, E-M-B-O-G, embog. Okay, it's a verb. That means it gives action to the noun. All right, the definition is to sink into, as if into a bog, to embed. All right, now we're going to use it in a couple of sentences. The first, the meeting became embogged in arguments over precedent. Second sentence, folks. The Trump family has embogged the United States in a big mess of hate, racism, white supremacy, and insurrection. Thanks, guys. Embog, that's your Slay Word of the Week. It means to sink into, as if into a bog, to embed. Use it all week. Folks, level up that vocab and slay it out there. Stay with me.
Anyone who thinks that slavery ended in the 1860s with the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation are grievously wrong.
If we caught a bird, we ate through the feathers and ate the bird. We didn't have nothing to cook on. We didn't have no stove. You know who you are and who we are.
We're still on that big plantation.
She was bonded to them until they died. She was their slave.
Dad said, bro, we're gonna be killed tonight. Could that same white dude keep terrorists there
or Russian spies or the KGB, then the government wouldn't know it? No.
They thought I was beat so bad that I couldn't do nothing, but I did.
Where are you? This is our missing segment where we look for our missing African American girls, and with your help, we'll find them. 13-year-old Mercedes Crumpton was last seen on a Friday on the west side of Chicago, Illinois. She was spotted in the 800 block of South Keeler Avenue. Mercedes regularly wears a black dress and black furry sandals. She has a scar on her nose and wears long braids. Mercedes is 5'5". She weighs 100 pounds and has brown eyes and black hair. Please call Chicago police with any information about Mercedes Crumpton. Where are you, Mercedes Crumpton? We've been looking for you for several weeks now, and with the community's help, we will find you. We're back talking about the international report, letting you know what's going on around the world. Dr. Inyang Ebong Harshap, of course, you know she's your expert. Welcome, Ini.
Thank you, Carol. There were two stories that caught my attention today. One was about the Thai boy that was rescued from the cave that was the captain who died at the age of 18. And that was very tragic. But the second story that really compelled me to say we have to talk about it today is that the UN chief says that the rising seas are a death sentence for some countries. He has warned that the threats posed by the rising sea levels to hundreds of millions of people living in low-lying coastal areas are a real severe problem. Countries like Bangladesh, China, India, and the Netherlands are threatened, as were big cities such as Bangkok, Buenos Aires, Jakarta, Lagos, London, Los Angeles, Mumbai, Maputo, New York, Shanghai. These are cities we all know. These are cities we visited. Yes. And basically, the problem is we have to keep the temperature at 1.5. We are hurtling past the 1.5 degrees Celsius that we were supposed to keep the temperature at to stop the melting. The glaciers are melting. And, you know, it's the global oceans have warmed faster over the past century than at any other time in the last 11,000 years. And you saw the floods in Pakistan last year. Those were terrible. That's because the Himalayas, the flooding there has gotten worse. And once the glaciers recede in that Himalayan area, you're going to have rivers like the Indus, the Ganges, the Brahmaputra rivers shrink. So you can see that peace and security are really, really going to be threatened because people's livelihoods are going to be threatened. And the interesting thing is that the countries like the Caribbean, countries like the Pacific, Samoa, Fiji, etc., they're saying that they've had so little effect on greenhouse gases. Why should they bear the brunt of this drama?
But they are going to bear the brunt because of where they're positioned on the earth. And America, get it together, because we're causing a lot of these problems. And if you're in America, you better make sure you have a piece of property, obviously not in New York, because you've got to have a place that no one can throw you out of. Because believe me, everybody who has wealth from other countries is going to go to all the countries where they think they can survive. And this is going to be parts of this country are going to be part of that. It's really scary.
No, what they were saying that really frightened me was the movement of people will be of biblical proportions. They're talking about the danger is especially acute for nearly 900 million people who live in coastal zones at low elevation. And that is 1 out of 10 people on Earth.
Wow.
1 out of 10.
Wow, it's truly, truly frightening. Thank you so much, Dr. Inyang Ebong Harshap. Now she's taking the tip. She's telling you, you better pay attention. I'm Carol Angela Davis. Thank you, Edie.
Thank you, Carol.
We'll see you next time.
See you next week.
All right, I'm back with your financial news because we got this. That's right, folks. We understand and we work the money. Let's tell you what's going on in the financial sector today. Okay. Eggs, folks, the price of eggs up 70%, folks, year over year, though the cost is now rising at a slower rate than it did last month. Now, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average price of a dozen of large grade A eggs is $4.82, folks. Supposedly, it's being blamed on the avian flu outbreak. Now, it did kill 43.3 million birds in 22. Now farmers are working to rebuild, I should say, their flocks in 2022. Overall, the total number of egg-laying birds lost to the flu increased. And as I said, 43.3 million birds. And we know that is part of the problem, but we know we can't ever leave out good old American greed, okay? So we know that's part of it too. So don't play us. Bring that price down. All right, let's move on. 35% of millionaires, they say retirement is going to take a miracle. You did hear me correctly. Yes, those are the millionaires talking. That's how bad America has let this situation get. We got the wrong people in charge. You know that. Put your representatives from your state are critical. Make sure you pay attention. 58% of high net worth individuals say they now accept that they will have to keep working longer, and 36% of them say they worry retirement may not ever be an option for them. Folks, right now, the average 401k balance is down 23% from a year ago, and that's according to the latest data from Fidelity Investments. That is the nation's largest 401k provider. Okay, 401k plans. All right, then let's move on. She is an HBCU grad, and now her global $80 million e-commerce brand is opening its first brick and mortar location. I'm talking about Miss Sassy Jones. I know you know who she is. Her real name is Clarice Jones. Sassy Jones is the nation's the nation's fastest growing privately held retail brand. Yes, the multi-million-dollar brand has 3 warehouses, over 40 employees, and countless national recognitions. And we salute Clarice Jones. Stay with me.
I'm just sick and tired of us not spending time together lately.
I know, baby. I know. I'm sorry I've been spending time with you. I've just been working on this big deal. It's gonna bring a lot more money to the household for it.
What you doing here, boss? Yeah, just checking to see if you still got it.
You take this work. Your partner. I don't want it back.
I've seen the movies, man. I know how this goes.
You see the movie, huh? What you see? Goodfellas, New Jack City.
Everything I do is for you. Like, I just need a little bit more time, man. Fine bullshit. Like I said, he's gonna call any second.
Why don't you take a look at this video? Guess what? It's starring you.
We are back as we always do every week and close the show out with you and your health in mind with Dr. K. Welcome, Dr. K.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. Whew, it's the holidays.
Yes.
And I wanted to take this moment and talk to my lovely listeners about carbs. Good carbs and bad carbs, because during the holiday season, we're presented with a lot of bad carbs. And boy, do they taste good. They're full of sugar, they're full of chemicals, they're full of all kinds of agents that make them taste even better than they actually taste. And they're very bad for our metabolism. So when we talk about wellness, we're talking about good carbs. And good carbs, of course, are whole foods, oranges, apples. They're not from the middle aisle, they're from the produce section. And therefore, as much as we can during this time, we want to focus on good carbs, even as we enjoy some bad carbs, but we at least want to know what we're eating, okay? So what makes a good carb good? It has sugar in the form that our body can use it. It contains fiber, and fiber is very good for our intestines. It's necessary for good digestion. It slows down digestion and therefore allows our blood sugar to regulate itself. No super high blood sugar, no super low blood sugar. So we want fibrous carbs, which again are found in the produce aisle. They're not found in the middle aisle of the supermarket. If we know that we're going somewhere and we know there's going to be a lot of food there that's probably not really good for us, maybe we want to balance that out with, say, a salad or fruit or something that is a whole food prior to going. So let's enjoy the holiday season. Let's know that alcohol in moderation is okay. Alcohol in overconsumption is not okay. And know that we're in a society where we're encouraged to overconsume, and then come January, pay some money, get on a diet, lose the weight. But let's try to balance out our season and enjoy ourselves. And come January, enjoy ourselves some more. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. K. And I hope everybody heard her message. And Dr. K, I know you're going to come back in January and give us some dieting tips and some eating tips to start the new year. I think you did that last year.
I am going to do it, but people, I don't want us to have to go on a crash diet and get diagnosed with pre-diabetes, get on a new medication. Oh my God, my blood pressure. We have to try to keep it in balance. So come January, we're a little bit happier.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That's Dr. K. She's keeping you healthy. All you got to do is pay attention. I'm Carol Angela Davis. From all of us here at Impact News, we wish you a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week with more information to move your family forward. Thank you, Dr. K.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.